This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. And if I can get a mover and a seconder to open up our council meeting, please. Peter and Belinda. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that we do call this regular meeting of council to order on Wednesday, March 17th, 2021 at 6 p.m. And council, those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, and we do, for our next item number 3, approval of the agenda, we do have 2 additions to the agenda and council has noticed those. Item 16.5 and 11.10. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Drago and John. Moved by Drago Stefanik, second by John Paroff. Be it resolved that council does hereby approve the agenda as amended. Those in favor? And that is carried. So item number 4, disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof, declaration of conflict of interest. Council, you can do that now or at any time that such situation arises through the council meeting. Item number 5 is the adoption of the minutes for our regular council meeting. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter and John. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornpain does hereby adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, February 17th, 2021 as distributed. Those in favor? And that is carried. And if I can get a mover and a seconder for our special meeting of council. John and Belinda, or Drago and Belinda. And moved by Drago Stefanik, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornpain does hereby adopt the minutes of the special meeting of council held on Wednesday, March 10th, 2021 as distributed. And council, those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, moving on. Item number 6, business arising from the minutes. 7, deputation presentations, tender awards, and open discussions. There's none. 8, petitions, none. 9, disbursements, none. So 10, we're moving on to managers' reports. If I can get a mover and a seconder to put the motion on the table, Belinda and Peter. Moved by Belinda Kistemaker, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornpain does hereby acknowledge receipt of the manager's reports provided at the regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, March 17th, 2021. And we open the floor up for the reports. And the first one is the Cio report. Gail, did you want to discuss anything before I open up the floor to comments or questions?
Just to add that the excavation on Murphy Lane went very well on, was it yesterday? I lost track of time. Anyway, no boil water advisory required, and they think they were done pretty much close to 2 o'clock, which was really efficient. So other than that, I don't have anything to add. So if there's any questions, I'll take them.
Okay, great. Council, any questions for Gail? Councillor Stefanik, go ahead.
Yeah, through the mayor to the CAO. I agree with her report where she made a statement that we should fully train up public works staff before they use the excavator, obviously with health and safety reasons. I think that's a very, very smart and precautionary move, and I think it's a good decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stefanik, and I will second that. I had comments on that as well. And just as you brought it up, I'll just read mine as well. I'm glad that both Gail and Dwayne recognize that we need to take a planned and safe approach to implementing new methods of taking care of business, safety of our employees, and ensuring that we have all the proper equipment and training in place to complete the water repairs internally cannot be emphasized enough. So I thank you for that. I do want to make just a couple of comments. Is there any other further questions or comments for Gail? Just for the sake of our community, I'd like to highlight in Gail's report where she talks about the Community Living Algoma's initiative in reaching out and setting up the webinar teaching series with Al Condalucci. It's been an amazing journey with him. Definitely the way for communities to strive towards inclusiveness and diversity. And I've watched each segment except the last one because I've had to watch the recordings, but was very well done. Where Gail talks about the Ministry of Municipal Affairs meeting that they set up for us with their staff. I was thoroughly impressed with Minister Clark's staff and the reassurance that we are on the right track by creating the MSC and that we are aligning ourselves for success. I did send a personal thank you note to the minister for setting up the meeting and applauded his staff for not only their enthusiasm to help us, but for the wealth of knowledge that they bring to the table for our community. I can't say enough. I just felt like that meeting was beneficial for our staff. And the last point I want to make of Gail's report is I would like to officially welcome Mr. Silbert Barrett to the Hornpain team and look forward to meeting him and working with him as we set a new course for Hornpain through the Hornpain Housing Corporation. So welcome. Okay, if there's nothing else, we'll move on to, we do have one resolution coming out of Gail's report. Do we want to do those resolutions, Gail, after we pass the manager's reports, all of them, or should we do them now?
I would just wait till after the manager's reports are done.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so moving on to our Public Works Manager's report. Dwayne, did you want to speak to your report before I open up to the floor?
I have nothing else to add right now. I'm ready for questions.
Okay, great. Any questions for the Public Works Manager? I don't see any questions, and I don't have any questions. We're okay to move on? Okay, thank you, Dwayne. Economic Development Officer's report. Any questions? Or Stacy, would you like to speak to your report first? Sorry.
I just have one comment. So we, Gail and I had a meeting with Sarah, our consultant with the OP today. Was very, very good. The reports are done very well. And she actually went through section by section with us to make sure it was in line with our plan. So that was just a really good meeting today. But on anything else in the report, I'll answer questions.
Glad to hear that. Any other comments or questions for Stacy? I don't have any either. Thank you, Stacy. Okay, I'll put the motion to a vote to accept the manager's reports as read. Those in favor? And that is carried. And we have the resolution for the special meeting scheduled. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. And that's John and Peter. Okay, moved by John Paroff, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the township of Hornpain does amend resolution number 2021-55 to reflect changes to the topics of discussion for the special meeting scheduled for March as follows. Wednesday, March 24th, 2021, time 6 p.m. Presentation, Ontario Clean Water Agency Dechlorination Project and general update. Council deliberation and open public discussion on 2021 municipal budget and 2021 water and sewer rates. Broadband. Wednesday, our date, Wednesday, March 31st, 2021, time 6 p.m. Intent to adopt 2021 municipal budget and the 2021 water and sewer rates. Annual departmental work plans, broadband, acquisition or disposition of land. Any comments on the motion? Okay, those in favor, council? And that is carried. Okay, so we're moving on now to correspondence action items. And our first action item is 11.1, NOMA's call for nominations, and that's open to discussion for council. Gail, did you want to speak to this before we discuss?
Not really. I just, if you do want to nominate somebody, we can there's still time to bring a resolution back to the April meeting. So I don't have anything prepared tonight for that.
Okay. My concern when I was reading it, I didn't look into it. I was just concerned of the financial commitment that we as a municipality would have to cover. Sometimes when we are representing on other boards, your home municipality has to cover those expenses. So, and I'm not sure with NOMA actually, so. Is there any nominations that council would like to put forward? No? Okay, then we'll move on to 11.2. And if I can get a mover and a seconder to read the motion. Drago and Peter. Moved by Drago Stefanik, second by Peter Kistemaker. Whereas council, through their membership in the Thunder Bay District Municipal League, received correspondence from Judith Monteith Farrell, MPP Thunder Bay Atikokan, requesting support of her private members bill, the Aquinin Neen Act, Who Am I, Respecting Identity Documents, 2021, an act to amend the Photo Card Act, 2008 and the Vital Statistics Act to prohibit the charging of fees for a photo card or relating to birth registrations, birth certificates, and other documents. And whereas this bill will address the cost barrier issues faced by many Ontarians today by making the following charges: no fees for obtaining all types of birth certificates, no fees for changes and all other services related to birth certificates, no fees for obtaining an Ontario Photo ID card. And whereas costs are not the only barriers related to obtaining ID, an advisory committee would be established to review other barriers to ID access faced by Ontarians, with recommendations for improvement to be forwarded to the minister. Therefore, be it resolved that the council, the corporation, the township of Hornpain does hereby support Judith Monteith Farrell's private members bill, the Awewin Neen Act, Who Am I, Respecting Identity Documents, 2021. Be it further resolved that this resolution is forwarded to Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, Lisa Thompson, Minister of Government and Consumer Services, Michael Mantha, MPP Algoma Kapuskasing, and Judith Monteith Farrell, MPP Thunder Bay Atikokan. Any discussion on the motion? I'll put it to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. None opposed. Moving on to 11.3. So we received correspondence from a resident. Gail, do yourself or a staff member would like to speak to this first?
Well, I think I'll let Dwayne speak to a portion of it, and then I can fill in if there's anything I need to say.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, there's some of the stuff that we can address directly fairly quickly. For as far as the vehicles running through the center of the Cedar Point area, we can definitely put signs up, try to limit the amount of vehicles going through there. And also on item 2, it can commit to cutting the grass every 2 weeks. Keep the grass down. Apparently, some people have found some ticks out there. And the garbage around the park is definitely a problem, and trying to get prices on bear-proof garbage cans. We're trying to get a reasonable rate. They're very expensive. And lots of it's going to be reviewed when we do the future development of the Cedar Point. We'll address lots of the other problems.
Okay, thank you for that. Council, I open up for floor to the discussion. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to the rest of Council Minister. I think it's a well-written letter. It's a respectful letter to Municipal Council Administration, and I think there's some good, valid points. With the vehicles, that has been an ongoing issue for the last 30 years plus. Maybe we'll do some, I think, suggest some overall marketing through our website and hard copy posters throughout the community to inform, or even to when you send out billings, maybe attach the information that people stay away from the, and it is dangerous because over the years there's children running around playing, and I think that health and safety is crucial. And thanks, Wayne, for the reaction, and hopefully could work together with this individual. I think be positive. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stefanik. Any other comments from council? Go ahead, Councillor Kistemaker. Belinda?
It was just, I really like to see, I really like seeing that type of letter. It's just that it had information on what ideas on what to do. And it's nice seeing that everyone is noticing that we have some issues. I think we can really make that place a really nice and enjoyable spot like it used to be. And I think with some good planning, we can satisfy everyone out there. So I don't know. I'm eager to get that one going.
Thank you, Belinda. I am in total agreement with all 3 comments. I'm glad that some action can be taken right away. Dwayne, thank you for that. And I'm in agreement with Dwayne too, that when we do our community improvement planning and in our SDR, it talked about us looking at our parks. So I think we're on the right road. So I would encourage too that the resident reach out at those times, and this letter will be filed along with those for that file when we get to planning. Okay. And just to verify, Gail, a letter has been sent to the resident in informing of what can be done?
Yeah, a letter was sent just thanking her for the like you said, Belinda, the great ideas, not only just identifying the issues, but suggesting some solutions, and just saying that we will be working on our recreation master plan, and will certainly be considered then, and there'll also be more opportunity for public input at that time.
Right on. Thank you, Gail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll move on to 11.4, Ontario Clean Water Agency Annual Report. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Belinda, Peter. Moved by Belinda Kistemaker, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the council, the corporation, the township of Hornpain does hereby acknowledge receipt of the 2020 Section 11 annual report for the Hornpain drinking water system as prepared by the Ontario Clean Water Agency, Aqua. Any discussion on the report? I had one question on the report, and it's on page 1, and it talks about if our annual report is your annual report available to the public at no charge on the website on the internet? And ours is, but the report says no.
It is. It does? Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't even
but
notice that.
I was confused because this is section 11 annual report. This one's not there, but our annual report is there.
Well, maybe did they mean our website or Aqua's website? I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe that's, I don't know.
Well, I
Anyways,
thought
I'll
it
check
was
it.
yeah, I thought it would be
You would
ours.
think, but
yeah. But that was
Okay.
my only, just to check that, because we do have it, because I checked, last year's is up there, so.
Yeah, no, they're there usually, yeah. Okay,
Okay.
I'll double check that, yep.
Right on, thank you, Gail. Okay, I'll put that to the vote if there's no further comments from council. Okay, those in favor? And that's carried. Peter, that was in favor, right? You didn't want to speak? Yeah, okay. Okay, so moving on to 11.4, we've got the annual report for Aqua. If I get a mover and a seconder, please. Drago. And John. Okay, moved by Drago Stefanik, second by John Paroff. Be it resolved that the council, the corporation, the township of Hornpain does hereby accept the 2020 annual summary report for the Hornpain drinking water system as prepared by Ontario Clean Water Agency, Aqua. Any comments on the motion or the report? Okay, we'll put that to the vote, council. Those in favor? And that is carried. And moving on to the last report from the Ministry of Environment. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter and John. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Be it resolved that the council, the corporation, the township of Hornpain does hereby accept the 2020 annual inspection report for Herbert Avenue drinking water system as prepared by the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. Any discussion on the motion or the report? There being none, I'll put that to the vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. Moving on to 11.7. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. John. And Belinda. Moved by John Paroff, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Whereas council, through their membership in the Thunder Bay District Municipal League, TBDML, has received correspondence from Rick Dumas, Mayor of the Town of Marathon, requesting support for the City of Thunder Bay to pause on any decisions or changes to the services of Superior North Emergency Medical Services, SNEMS, until a meaningful and full consultation process has been conducted with all relevant communities. And whereas communities in the District of Thunder Bay are deeply concerned with the recent report submitted by Performance Concept Consulting with regard to the proposed changes to the SNEMS services to the communities surrounding the City of Thunder Bay. And whereas the communities that will be affected by these proposed changes were not consulted with a partner approach and are expressing their desire to revisit the proposed plan through a meaningful and thorough consultation process. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council, the Corporation, the Township of Hornpain, although through its affiliation to the affected communities via the Thunder Bay Municipal League, does hereby support the Town of Marathon and all communities in the District of Thunder Bay in their collective request for a full consultation process for all communities served by Superior North Emergency Medical Services before any final decisions or changes are made to the vital services offered. Be it further resolved that this resolution will be forwarded to the City of Thunder Bay, the Town of Marathon, and all communities in the Thunder Bay District. Any discussion on the motion? I want to thank Councillor Paroff for bringing this to our attention. I am intrigued to read the Superior North EMS Master Plan that was included with the background documents. It may help us in ensuring our services stay the same. So if there's no further comments, I put that to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. And we're moving on to 11.8. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter and Drago. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Drago Stefanik. Whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has disproportionately impacted residents in long-term care homes and has exposed structural weaknesses in the long-term care system. And whereas in July 2020, the provincial government launched an independent commission to investigate the spread of COVID-19 within long-term care homes, how residents, staff, and families were impacted, and the adequacy of measures taken by the province and other parties to prevent, isolate, and contain the spread of the virus. And whereas on January 29th, 2021, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, provided a board-approved submission improving the long-term care outbreak response in Ontario, submission to the Long-Term Care COVID-19 Commission, outlining recommendations to the Commission on behalf of the municipal governments that operate 100 of the 626 long-term care homes in Ontario. And whereas this submission puts forward 48 recommendations for action in both public and private long-term care homes across 9 themes. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation, the Township of Hornpain, does hereby support Halton Regional Council's resolution endorsing the Association of Municipalities of Ontario's recommendations to Long-Term Care COVID-19 Commission and strongly urges the provincial government to move forward with implementation of these recommendations, including instituting higher standards with increased funding for implementation. Be it further resolved that Council also supports Halton's request that the federal government enhance federal health care funding to the provinces and territories, specifically dedicating funding to long-term care, and undertake further efforts to protect, promote, and restore the physical and mental well-being of long-term care residents in Canada. And be it further resolved that since the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM, works with and advocates to the federal government to secure new tools and empower municipalities to build stronger communities, that Council requests that FCM develop a policy and advocacy position on enhanced federal support for long-term care. Be it finally resolved that this resolution be sent to the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Christine Elliott, Ontario Minister of Health, and the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM, for their consideration, with copies to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, Carol Hughes, MP Algoma Manitoulin Kapuskasing, Michael Mantha, MPP Algoma Manitoulin, and the Regional Municipality of Halton. Any discussion on the motion? I put that to a vote. Those in favor, Council? And that is carried. None opposed. And 11.9, we received information. I don't know if Gail, if you'd like to speak to this first before Council discusses.
I did reach out, excuse me, to the ministry just to see, first of all, if these documents were public and if we could share them, so to let council know, you know, what's going on and give them an opportunity to discuss. So the response, actually I have it right here. She just said that the letter was to provide mayor and council early notification of the steps taken to support the negotiations about the Aboriginal title claim and invite an opportunity for further discussion to help us understand the Township of Hornpain's interests with respect to the lands in question, excuse me, and address any questions or comments. So they're in the early stages of negotiations and more information will be provided as they reach key milestones in the process, including consultation with the public and with municipalities. And she had just said, please feel free to put it on the agenda. And they look forward to an opportunity to set up a meeting to discuss with council. So we will invite her to a meeting or a representative of her to a meeting. I guess when we have more information, we can reach out to her and see where they're at with that.
Okay, so we're possibly looking at our next regular meeting of council that they may.
I think we might have something on that one already. Maybe
Okay.
May.
Okay.
I'll have to see exactly what their timelines are. It sounds like it's still quite early, so there might be enough time to, you know, to put it off for a bit.
Okay. Sounds good. Any comments from council? Just from my end, I did reach out to Norman. I haven't heard back yet. What did I do with my page? Just on the one fact sheet, there's the ministry representation and then the PECUNIARY representation. So I did reach out to him and hopefully I'll be able to connect and talk about the claim. Okay, if there's no further discussion right at this moment, this will come back to council. So we'll discuss further then, and we look forward to hearing when they can come, Gail. Okay, and we did have the addition to our agenda in 11.10. And that's for our fire department. Could I get a mover and a seconder, please? Peter and John. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Whereas the Ontario government announced a one-time $5 million grant to municipal fire services to assist addressing challenges associated with training and virtual inspections due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas the ability to train fire service members in a COVID environment has brought new restrictions, and despite opportunities to train online and through other formats, not all training priorities have been met over the last year. And whereas fire departments have raised concerns about fire code enforcement and the ability to enter premises to conduct inspections and promote fire safety, and whereas the Township of Hornpain is eligible to receive up to $4,800 as part of this grant program to support fire services through this period of uncertainty and ongoing challenges. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornpain does hereby approve Miles Wallingford, Hornpain Fire Chief, to apply for and accept in principle the 2020-2021 Fire Safety Grant on behalf of the municipality for the Hornpain Fire Department. Be it further resolved that this application must be received by the Office of the Ontario Fire Marshal no later than March 19th, 2021, and as a condition of the grant, these funds must be spent by August 1st, 2021, and a report back to the Fire Marshal will be required by September 1st, 2021, outlining how the grant was utilized at the fire department level. Be it finally resolved that a copy of this resolution will be sent to the Ontario Fire Marshal. Any discussion on the motion? Councillor Paroff, go ahead.
No, it's not a discussion. It's more of a comment that March 19th deadline is in 2 days. So that's a pretty short timeline for something like this.
Yeah, it was very short, hence the addition to our amendment, because I believe it was received on the 11th. Am I getting the correct date? March 11th.
Wow.
So hence why it wasn't put on Friday's agenda package. So kudos to Miles for catching it and getting on it for sure. Any further discussion? I don't see any, so we'll put it to the vote. Those in favor, council? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, so now we're moving on to 12, correspondence information only. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Drago and Peter. Moved by Drago Stefanik, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornpain does hereby acknowledge receipt of the correspondence information only package attached to the agenda at the regular meeting of Council held on Wednesday, March 17th, 2021. Any comments on the information only package? I have one on 12.4 from Parliamentary Assistant Stan Cho. He talks about in the letter that the Ministry of Finance was to facilitate a meeting between Hornpain and the LCBO, and I was wondering if there's any movement on that. Did we hear anything about that?
No, I haven't heard anything on that. We can have to
Okay.
follow up on it.
I want to inform council for item 12.7, phenom with the insurance rate increase. I did do an interview yesterday with Nick Dunn from TV Ontario Northeast Journalism Hub, and he'll notify us when that interview comes out. He was interviewing all sorts of municipalities on the increases to insurance. On 12.10, I have requested to see the final plan for the forest management plan, and Shelley was able to send me some supplementary documents that were looked at while they created that plan. So if there need be, I will meet with them. Gail, we were having a discussion about 12.12, the AMO communications for the Municipal Councillor Code of Conduct consultations. Did you want to add anything to that?
Well, I just thought council might be interested to give their input, but for some reason I can't pull that document up on my my screen, so I don't have a copy of it in front of me right now. So I think it looks like the consultation period's open, but I don't have the date. So if they're not, I don't think they're in the letter either or the document. So I'll have to get that for you if you're interested in submitting something or reading about it at least. I think there's, I know when we've been to conferences and workshops before, we hear a lot of, for lack of a better term, horror stories of things going on between councils and staff, or just between council members themselves, and lots of conflict. And we've been really lucky not to have to deal with that kind of stuff, but it happens, and it happens in the bigger cities that you think would kind of be more organized. So it's amazing. So obviously there's enough issues that they feel something has to be done. So I just thought you might have a good perspective to give some input.
Yeah, I'm just thinking as you're saying that now, it might be a good to give input on training dollars as well to support communities, so that like you think about conflict resolution and how to do that. Like for a small municipality like ours, we know the cost of training, and to bring those services in to get training for councils. Training there's some available when it's a new council, but throughout council it should be ongoing. So I just want to take note of the Far Northeast Training Board local labor market plan for 2021. That's an imperative document for us to use in the future because that is would motivate us for growth and attracting people to the north. They're looking at, I think it was 46%. We won't be able to cover the jobs over the next, I believe it's the next decade. You can see it in the report. And just the last piece of correspondence from 12/14, Township of Valrite with our NOMA affiliation. I did reach out to Mayor Barrell and I have not received correspondence back just to check how this is going and if there's any exactly what the partnership program looks like. This must have been on the agenda at NOMA before we were a part of NOMA, so I was just trying to follow up and get some background information. As we know, agriculture is growing, so if we can get our community involved, that would be good. Any other comments on the information only? Seeing none, I'll put the motion to a vote for acknowledging receipt of the correspondence information only package. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, moving on to 13, there's none donations, 14 conference seminars and training, none, 15 committee reports. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Drago and Peter. Moved by Drago Stefanik, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council, the Corporation, the Township of Hornpain does hereby acknowledge receipt of the minutes from Hornpain Public Library Hornpain Public Library Board regular meetings held on the following dates: Monday, June 1st, 2020, Thursday, July 16th, 2020, Monday, August 17th, 2020, Thursday, September 24th, 2020, Monday, October 26th, 2020, and Tuesday, December 1st, 2020. Any discussion on the motion? I do want to congratulate our local public library for maintaining a board and meetings. There were several municipalities that had difficulty maintaining meetings through last year. So I think that alone stands on its own merit to say thank you for doing that, all the volunteers that sit on the Hornpain Public Library Board. So I put that motion to a vote, Council. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, so now we're on to 16, news and other business, and 16.1, I'll hand it over to our coordinator, Gail.
So I think the biggest news is the vaccines are starting to roll out. We've got all the long-term care and I think most of the frontline hospital staff here in town done, as well as the over 80s and the 55 plus urban indigenous population are most of the ones that were available of all those age groups or had agreed to get the vaccine. And they're doing clinics this week all throughout the district, Hearst, Cap, Smooth Rock, Cochrane, Timmins. So Drago and I are sitting on the vaccine implementation table. So we've been meeting, it's been about once a week, but they just call the meetings when they need them. So they're not sort of regular. According to the Prime Minister last week, he was saying we should be, as a country, getting 1 million vaccines a week. So hopefully that stays true and we can, all the ones that want to be or can be vaccinated will be done, maybe within whatever, 20, 25 weeks, depending on how many children there are and all that kind of stuff. So that's exciting. Porcupine Health Unit, I gotta say, hospital staff too, but the Porcupine Health Unit, they are working 24/7, and Dr. Catton is just so good, so on the ball, and I commend them. I feel bad for them because I think it's obviously a very stressful and busy time for them. but they're doing a fantastic job. So we have made our arena available to the health unit if should they need it. They're actually not sure if they're going to need a building that size in Hornpain, but anyways, we'll make that available to them if they do need it. They've been using the Legion so far. And with regard to our regular meetings, the weekly CCG meetings are going well as well. They're well attended, and no striking news to report, which is good. That means we're doing well. The messaging they're looking for now is basically be kind, of course, be patient. The vaccines are coming, and just because the vaccines are out there doesn't mean we can let down our guard. We have to stay vigilant until you know, the majority of the population is vaccinated. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. Mayor, did you have anything else to add to that?
No, that was a great summary, Gail. The only addition I would have is that if you are unsure about the vaccine, or you have any underlying issues, health issues that you're concerned about, this is the time to make the appointment with your health professionals to understand what the vaccine is and to get that information. Because when the vaccines come, it comes very quickly, and do those precautionary steps now.
Yes, good point. There's not much they don't get much notice of when they are getting the vaccine, so we have to be ready for sure. Good point.
Yeah. Is there any questions about the community control group or vaccination rollout from council for Gail? Okay, we'll continue on then. 16.2, reduction of speed limit on municipal road. And I believe I got to bring up the report. Dwayne, did you want to speak to this first?
I think it's pretty well laid out. If you have any questions, I'll take them.
Okay, sounds good. I'll open up the floor to council for questions or comment on the report. I know, just to let council know, that I have had complaints about this to me, and have asked people to submit requests for service forms in. Go ahead, Councillor Kistemaker Peter.
I would support the proposal.
You support it? Okay.
Yeah,
You'll have
100%.
to speak up, Peter.
Sorry, I would support it 100%.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yes. Councillor Kistemaker Belinda?
This has to happen. It's on my street. It has to happen. It's very dangerous out there. Just listening to it, it's very dangerous.
Okay. Thank you for that. So just to move forward with this, then the recommendation is to adopt a bylaw governing traffic on the connecting link that recognizes a new speed limit. So this bylaw will be coming to council when?
Should be ready before next council meeting for sure.
For next council meeting? Okay, sounds good. So council knows. I was wondering too, if we, do we have any signage out in that area of, you know, children at play, those slow down community friendly signs?
You have children at play signs.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Councillor Paroff. John?
Yeah, it just, I'm definitely in support of what we're doing here, but I just want to clarify or seeking answers. Is it because the traffic is going over 50 and we want to reduce it down to 40, or what's the rationale between going from 50 to 40?
I'll leave that for you, Dwayne.
Basically, to bring in line with the rest of the town, and they are going quite quickly. And they're by a playground, future hotel, hit the tracks really hard. The 40 kilometers an hour makes the most sense.
Okay.
Yeah, our entire municipality is a 40-kilometer municipality. Go ahead, Councillor Kistemaker. Belinda?
They're supposed to be coming in at 50, but they're not coming in at 50. You think they would be slowing down, but they are not slowing down.
No.
And that's
Right.
coming in from my end. So they're whipping by pretty quickly.
That's what I thought.
If the OPP wanted to get their quota, they could pretty fast.
Yes. I'm wondering, Gail, for the updates of what we discussed at the OPP meeting, is that something we'd like to discuss right now? Yeah, okay. Do you want to discuss that, or would you like me to?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Just on a Monday, we had we've been meeting, I think, quite regularly now with the Ontario Provincial Police, annually or even biannually. So we had our meeting, and they informed us that the municipality of Wawa purchased, I'm not exactly sure of the name of the box. It basically records data of the vehicles going by at what speed, at what time in a certain location. And we talked about possibly reaching out to them and the OPP helping us with that. It just gives us information on a specific area, and we outlined 3 in our community. So we're hopeful that that'll come to fruition. And of course, with this reduction in speed, that'll help as well. And then you end up doing spot checks to, like what Belinda's saying, where the police actually sit and a few fines get laid, and then people know that we're taking it seriously, and everyone's taking it seriously, and it is a huge safety concern. My one question is for the recommendation: are we looking at putting the 40 kilometers to start where the 50 starts on the other side of that curve?
Yes, on both the side of that curve coming into town and also exiting towards the dump all the way through.
All the way through. So where the 70 kilometers starts now, that's where the 40 will end?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, Council, are you in agreement with that? We'll see a bylaw to come next meeting. I can see consensus there. Yeah, okay, great. Any further discussion? Councillor Stefanik, I see your mic unmuted. Go ahead.
Thanks for letting us know that you're meeting with the OPP. I think this is my 3rd time bringing it up in 3 years now. The 3rd Avenue still is a danger zone, in my humble opinion. More so during wintertime. I brought up the last 3 years where they're speeding by, and the children do not have any sides because of the snowbanks being built. And I would appreciate if they looked at an issue as police.
Yes, that was the 3rd Ave was identified, Leslie Street, and there was a 3rd one, Gil. I'm forgetting it now. I can look at the
So
email.
am I.
Oh,
That's ridiculous.
I know. We just talked about this. We got too much going on.
Becker Road, out Becker Road.
Oh, Becker Road. That's right. Along Becker Road as well, out further past Becker Road, just to ensure that our road's being taken care of and that people are driving safely. Thank you for that, Councillor Stefanik. Okay, if there's no further discussion on that, we'll move on. 16.3, Geographic Centre of Ontario. Dwayne, would you like to speak to your report first or open it for questions or comment?
I think I'm okay if you wanted to just open for comment, I think.
Okay. I'll open up the floor to council for comment, and thank you for your report, Dwayne. Councillor Stefanik, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Thank you, Dwayne, for his extensive research and recommendation. I agree. My question is through you, Mayor, to Dwayne. When do you want the committee to get together? I think we should have a blush look at it, and when the time is appropriate, your time and Stacy's time, we will have to get together and inform the committee as a whole because of some changes, slight changes, and I'd like to keep everybody in the loop. Through Mayor to Dwayne, so whenever you have time in your calendar, if you could advise me through the CAO directly, we'll put the out for everybody to couple dates to meet and to go over the information that you presented to council this evening. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Stefanik. And was there a scheduled committee meeting coming? Go ahead, Gail.
I just wanted to add that I reached out to the survey company because the M&R had advised Wayne that we'd need to get a survey, and so I was looking for a quote, but he called me back. Dave Urso called me back and said that in situations like this, they normally can't act on anything unless they get some documentation from the M&R with instructions on what exactly to survey. So he, on our behalf, because he works with them fairly closely, reached out to our contact to ask him if he could provide any documentation, and I was CC'd in that email, so I haven't seen a response yet. So we have to sort of wait to see what needs to be surveyed and get a price, and then I would do what I did last time and just put it out there that they're coming to town, and you know, see if anyone else needs surveying at the same time so that we can share some costs. And on another note, he was interested about the hotel and asked me when it was going to be here so that he doesn't have to keep staying in White River. So that was good. So,
can we pre-book rooms?
Yeah, really. So that's an expense though that we're going to have for the Center of Ontario and I don't know. He couldn't really tell me exactly what it would be, but I imagine it'll be $5,000 or $6,000 to have the survey done.
Okay. Overall, I have to thank you for that, Gail. I have to say, overall, I thought the report was positive. I like that no extra permits may be required when we're staying in that corridor, and I just thought overall it was really positive. So any further comments on that from council? Okay, we'll move on. 16.
Mayor?
Oh, sorry. Yes, go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
I'll check through the CAO then the next couple of days to see what the time frame is, and through Dwayne, so we could set something up in motion then for a meeting when they think it's applicable. Administration thinks is excuse me, it's ready to meet as a group. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we can leave that behind the scenes for yourself and Gail to work out. Sound good? Thank you, Councillor Stefanik. Okay, 16.4 is the Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation. And Stacy, would you like to speak to your report before I open it up for questions? Nothing?
No, I'll take questions if anyone has any.
Any comments or questions for our Economic Development Officer? Go ahead, Councillor Paroff, sorry.
Thank you. I was just wondering, was there anything in mind at this time that you were looking at?
We really haven't put any projects together, so our plan is really to bring back some project ideas into the main council meeting.
Okay.
Well, and we'll have to find the money to pay our portion as well. So
Yeah.
When you were investigating the different funds that they released, Stacy, are they much different from what was there before? Do you think they better fit for funding brackets?
I think there's a better concentration on Northern Ontario and municipalities under 1,500. That category is new, and some of the funding dollars are higher, and they're good programs. They're fitting better with Northern Ontario for sure, and there hasn't been capital infrastructure projects before. So where we could fix our arena roof or arts or culture, that hasn't been there before. One of the only things that for us is a little sad is that there really is no plans or studies. So they're looking at capital improvements, which is great, but we're still in some areas, we're still at the study phase. So we'll have to kind of find a project. We just have to identify a project and apply a level we can find the money in our budget to pay our portion.
For the capital stream is, because I think it was up to 200,000, would a Zamboni be covered under that?
So rolling stock usually isn't. So I can check with Serge on that. But usually I think with this one it's infrastructure projects, but usually rolling stock, anything with wheels is hardly ever covered in any grant. But
Okay.
I on that.
Well, like it would be one thing we can fix our roof, which we've got a new roof, but thankfully. But if you can't clean the ice, like we can't use the facility anyway. So
That's right.
any other comments on the report? My only final comment, and I can't exactly find it in your report, but it's the investment stream where we can, it's a company from the south that relocates into Northern Ontario. I find that one interesting.
So that one's not in my report. That's an Investment North. So that's actually more geared to actual business owners. So I think on it that we need to promote that local area and promote that project and identify if we have any businesses that are looking at expanding or moving projects up here. And we did discuss it with Farm Pain Lumber when we spoke with them.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay, I have no more further discussion on that topic. Council seeing none, we'll move on. We have 16.5, which is the addition of the official plan. Gail, did you want to speak to this?
So Mayor Fort and I were reviewing the document last week, I guess it was, or I can't remember now if it was last week or this week, but anyways, and we're thinking it's a good idea to have the consultant come and just not necessarily present to council before the document goes to the ministry, but to address any specific questions or clarification that council may want with regard to anything that may be unclear. It's all new to us. So I know I had lots of things that I had to either look up definitions for or request clarification from her. So depending on what exactly you want, she's willing to come, but I mean, she's not going to be, going through the draft documents. They're not for public input at the moment, but they will be further down the line. But certainly she'll address council's concerns or questions. So we had suggested to her, as Stacy said, we had a meeting with her today. So we had suggested to her the 14th of April, if that works for people. She could be available that day for a special meeting. As it's getting hard it makes our meetings difficult. We've got so many big projects going on right now, and to put them, I don't think none of us were expecting to have this many special meetings, but to put them onto our regular meetings, it just extends them to too long.
Yes, yes. Any
so anyway,
questions?
that was the suggestion.
Yes, thank you, Gail. Go ahead, Councillor Paroff.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like you were saying, we got a lot of these, but could we not just wait and see if council has questions that they want answered before we commit to having her join us for a meeting? Or is that an idea?
Well, oh, go ahead, Gail.
Sorry, I was just going to say, well, I don't know, the comments didn't come back to me. I don't know if Stacy's received comments and questions from council to date, but what I was going to say was we could set it up only because we have to set the meeting at some point, and we're at a meeting right now, so we could cancel it, I suppose, if we don't need it. Is what all I was going to say.
Yeah, because I read the OP, I read it, and I didn't really have any questions that I needed answered before too long. A lot of it I didn't understand anyways, but you know, it was kind of whatever. But
I think that's the purpose of the meeting, Councillor Paroff. We need to understand it. I'm sorry, I couldn't let that one go, John. It was probably a slip there. But
that's okay.
go ahead, Councillor Kistemaker Belinda.
Personally, I would like to have a presentation or a discussion with the people who did the plan, just because basically when it goes out to the public, I think our responsibility is to promote it and to answer questions that may come up to us. And I don't know, I think we should understand it, and what I really did like the official plan. There was a lot of things that come out of it that I didn't even think of, but I just think that if we're going to promote it to the public, I think we should be, I think we should have a little bit more knowledge of it. One thing I would have liked in the presentation was probably pictures, especially for the zoning, how things are supposed to look like. That would be a plus for me. So if they're explaining stuff to us, I think the pictures would help.
Examples, right? Is that what you're thinking of? Examples?
Yes, I'm thinking examples. And especially right. if we have an idea, we can present them to the public as well.
Thank you for that, Belinda. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. I agree to agree with Council Paroff as both as the Kistemaker. First of all, I read it. I do not have expertise personally in that area. To have questions, you must have knowledge before to ask the questions. I mean, these are people, that's what they do for a living. The thing is, administration staff will be taking care of this long till we're gone, and somebody else will come in as members of council. I think if they bring the highlights to us as a consultant to areas to be could present to the public, as I agree with Kistemaker, Councilor Kistemaker, I agree with that. But to get in nitty-gritty, I don't think that's our job as a member of council, is to understand the global context of that zoning bylaw, not issue by issue. I mean, I've read it and made my head spin after about 3 or 4 hours. I mean, administration will handle that in the future, but we could have input. And my input was, I sent the email to Gail, they will fine tune it as an administration team, which we have a good team, and to fine tune it for our liking through the consultant. That was my take on the whole situation. And I'd like to have possibly, yes, have the consultant do the highlights for us so we understand the basic grasp of the bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Stefanik and Councillor Paroff and Councillor Kistemaker. I am in agreement. Like, I don't want to get into us rewriting a plan. That's not at all, but to get those higher understanding with some examples. So, and I do agree that we should be ambassadors for this moving forward and understanding it before it actually comes out for public consultation, having a better understanding of that, the highlights and how it's going to help and benefit our community. So any further discussion on the topic? Is council available on April the 14th? And what time was that for, Gail?
6 o'clock.
I'm available. Peter, yes. Councillor Stefanik, yes. Councillor Kistemaker Belinda, are you available? Yes, okay. Councillor Paroff?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I'm inserting Okay, so I have Wednesday, April 14th, 2021 at 6 p.m. for a presentation and discussion draft official plan and draft comprehensive zoning bylaw, JL Richards. And Gail, do you have enough background from the discussion that council's had here to direct the consultant?
Yeah, I'm just going to follow up with Councillor Kistemaker on the pictures and examples, or Stacy can, whatever, to just clarify what it is that you're looking for there. But other than that, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. If I can get a mover and a seconder for the motion, please. Drago and Peter. Moved by Drago Stefanik, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council, the Corporation, the Township of Hornpain does hereby set a special meeting in a virtual meeting room for the following reason. Presentation, discussion, draft official plan and draft comprehensive zoning bylaw with JL Richards on Wednesday, April 14th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Those in favor? And that is carried. That was in favor, right, John? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
None opposed. Okay, moving on to 16.6, council committee updates. And I'll open the floor to council. Not sure how many committees are running now. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Through you, just to repeat what you said, the library board met more last year than the year previous because of COVID-19. It seems like we were almost meeting every 3.5 weeks because direction was required, and we have a wonderful library board. All our Porcupine Health Unit meetings did not cease also. Matter of fact, we had an extra meeting as well. So they were full bore ahead, both of those. And that is all. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you for that. Any other committee updates from councillors? None from Councillor Paroff? No? Okay. The only thing that I have to report on committee updates is Ontario Good Roads Association. I was acclaimed for another 2-year term, and I was nominated and accepted the position of the new committee that's been formed titled Diversity, Equity and Inclusion for Ontario Good Roads. And I'll be chairing that along with Deputy Mayor Kelly Elliott. So she'll be the vice chair. I'm looking forward to that. This is a brand new committee and they are giving us the same amount of privileges as the other standing committees. So we'll have a meeting prior to the official board meetings and look at how we can better not only the organization, but how Ontario Good Roads can help municipalities and their members make strides in this as well for moving forward. So that's all I have to report on committees. Okay, nothing more. It's 7:14. Is everyone okay to continue, or would you like a 5-minute break now? We're good to continue? Okay, we'll continue, and then if we're at 8 o'clock, I will suggest a break for 8. Okay, we moving on to 18.1. repeal bylaw of 925 off-road vehicles. So we saw this last meeting, council. If I can get a mover and a seconder. John and Peter. Moved by John Paroff, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1846, being a bylaw to repeal bylaw number 1925, governing the operation of off-road vehicles on highways only in the township of Hornpain, be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Any further discussion on the motion? There being none, I put it to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. None opposed. And on to 18.2, Municipal Energy Plan Program. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Drago. And John. Moved by Drago Stefanik, second by John Paroff. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1847, being a bylaw to enter into a transfer payment agreement between the Corporation of the Township of Hornpain and Her Majesty the Queen and Right of the Province of Ontario, represented by the Ministry of Energy Development and Mines, regarding the Municipal Energy Plan Program, MEP program. Community Energy Plan be hereby read a first and a second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Any discussion on the motion or bylaw? There being none, I'll put it to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. None opposed. Okay, the final bylaw. Motion's on the floor. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter and John. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1848, being a bylaw to authorize an engineering agreement between the Corporation of the Township of Hornpain and Avia NG Incorporated to provide airfield rehabilitation design, project management, and contract administration for the Hornpain Municipal Airport be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Any discussion on the motion or the bylaw, or the agreement, I mean? Okay, I just want to bring to council's attention that I did have a few questions to Gail and Dwayne about, in the agreement, you read that the engineering firm will hold our documents, and I just had concerns about that. And I just wanted to bring that to council's attention, that we are supplied documents, but they will ultimately hold our documents as well if you read it in the agreement. And I was also in discussion that, as you saw in past report, that we picked the right engineering firm, so. Okay, if there's no further discussion, I'll put the agreement to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, we're going towards closed session. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Drago and John. Moved by Drago Stefanik, second by John Peroff. Be it resolved that the next portion of the meeting at 7:19 p.m. be closed to the public in order to discuss the security of the property of the municipality or local board, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board pursuant of section 239(2) A and C of the Municipal Act 2001. Those in favor? And that is carried.
Madam Mayor, I
Yes, go
respectfully ask for a 5-minute recess, please, in between shuffling from this into the in-camera if possible.
Yes, for sure. We could do that now. That's a great suggestion, Councillor Stefanik. So if we can meet at the closed session at 7:20 or 7:25, sorry.
Thank you.
I got to learn to tell time. Okay, we'll see you there.
Mayor Fort,
Yes, go ahead.
Mayor Fort,
Yes.
can you maybe just announce again about the, if people, well, I guess I can do it.
Yes.
If anyone who's listening gets kicked out of the meeting here when we sign off, because sometimes I don't have control of that, you can just sign right back onto the link and then just wait for us to return. All right.
Okay, thank you for that, Gail.